I'm a little late, but today we're talking about Sonic Frontier's latest free update, as it is the update that I've been most excited for. This time around, we're getting a story expansion with 3 new playable characters in a game that used to be Sonic only, so let's see how that turned out. Real quick, I just want to let you all know that I do videos like this one all the time, and most of my viewers aren't even subscribed to the channel. If you like the video, or if you want to see any other content that I do, feel free to subscribe and check out my older videos. Okay, let's get into the Sonic update. So right off the bat, I didn't know exactly how I was meant to access the Final Horizon story. It wasn't an option on the main menu, so I jumped into the game to see if there was anything new, and lo and behold, we have a portal here on the final island of the main game. As it turns out, this story mode is kind of an alternate timeline of events to how the game ended originally. While that is pretty cool, it's also kind of confusing at times, but whatever, I'll get over it. In the story's end originally, Sonic gets infected by the cyberspace he continues to fight through, and his friends give themselves in their cybery state to Sonic so that he can carry on and finish this once and for all. This time though, Sage tells Sonic that she can hold him together for a while yet, allowing his friends to help find the Chaos Emeralds as well. Decent enough. Now we have a reason to play as Amy, Knuckles, and Tails. Interestingly, the way this expansion to the story plays out is not how I expected. First you play as Amy, running around, discovering more of the map, yada yada, until you come across a Chaos Emerald. Unable to obtain it, the game swaps you to Knuckles, who is also searching for a Chaos Emerald. Eventually you do find it, and he is also unable to get his hands on it, so finally we swap to Tails, who decrypts a few things so that the others can collect their emeralds, and then we're back to Sonic. I didn't really think Sonic would be a part of this story expansion actually. I was kinda hoping that they would focus on the new characters throughout this entire new section of the game, but I guess that's because that's what I was most excited about. But it's not that bad. You play as Sonic for a little while, and your task is to talk to the Coco at the top of these huge towers. Just like in the base game, these tall towers are platforming gauntlets. Nothing too difficult aside from maybe a couple obstacles that I don't think they really tested before using them. Just things like these fans being so wonky to work with, or these cubes being so far apart that I had to boost mid-air precariously to land on top of them, or maybe these circly grindy rails that you need to jump off of properly to continue the platforming. Nothing terrible, just a little hard to know exactly what you're meant to do here sometimes. At the top of these towers though, we have the start of my issues with this story update. Once you reach the top, you talk to the Coco and they invite you to attempt a challenge that they've set up. These challenges limit you quite a lot in what you can do, and you're also meant to beat them as a level 1 Sonic. Not my favorite style of challenge, but that's fine. The thing is, some of these challenges were ridiculously difficult to complete in the time limit. Like this Psyloop one where you only had 2 minutes to get through 4 enemies with really slow Psyloop attack patterns and plenty of health to work your way through. But on the other hand, a couple of them were so easy it seemed like the time limit wasn't even a factor. Parry a few dog enemies and beat them up? Sure, but why did I get so much time to do it? Or this fight with a ninja enemy that you're given like 10 minutes to destroy? It definitely felt a little thrown together, especially as there aren't really any new enemies to fight in these challenges. It's just more Sonic things that we've done plenty of before, when really I was kinda just here to play the new characters. There is another round of playing as Amy, then Knuckles, then Tails for more emeralds, but then we're right back to Sonic and we have the worst challenge of all laid right before us. Stripped to level 1, we have to fight the 3 main bosses of the base game again, with no rings to collect between the fights, and parry has been changed to a perfect parry. I can't explain how annoying this was, especially because it's 3 bosses I've already beaten a ton of times with new challenges imposed on me. This is the part of the game where I realized I was still on hard mode from my original file. Unashamedly, I switched to easy mode for this fight, which helped quite a lot. Really my only issue here killing these bosses in the time limit my rings would last for was the perfect parry, and the easy mode made it quite a lot more lenient than hard mode did. Finally, fighting my way through the challenge, Sonic is now more powerful than ever, I guess, and he's ready to face the final boss of the game. The final boss this time around plays out a little differently than before. With the first form remaining exactly the same, the second form had some pretty cool shenanigans about it that I wasn't expecting. Firstly, this time he's directly connected to the evil moon thing, which is keeping him alive, and Sonic has ascended to, like, Cyber Supersonic or something. So the first thing that you have to do is take out the pipe from behind his head that's keeping him alive, then you're free to beat him up for a while until he falls over. The next thing took me a while to figure out, but if you fly over to his back instead of his head when he's on the ground, you can Psyloop his gun out of his compartment, and then Psyloop it again to hold it up so that Eggman can connect to it and get ready for a final shot. This was all very cool and felt pretty climactic. I love this part where Sage and Sonic's friends were shielding Eggman and the weapon as he charged it for use, and I especially loved the final scene where Sonic began to go all out helping this weapon fire a decisive blow. With a new remix of the final song in the game to accompany it, this ending felt really good. Sage didn't have to sacrifice herself this time, and everyone got to live happily ever after. But enough about the story, alright? Can we go back and talk about these new characters? I feel like I've blasted over them as quickly as Tails blasts right past all the platforming he's meant to do in this story. Starting with Amy, I loved playing as her. She's probably my favorite out of the whole lot, actually. This time around, Amy has a card theme going on, I guess. I don't really know where this came from, but I'm super here for it. It looks awesome, it plays well, and it allows her to have a third jump midair that she can glide pretty damn far with. Of course, with this level of jumping and gliding, she was bound to break some of the platform segments and just bypass them, but that would be a theme for this story mode. Knuckles, I thought, felt the clunkiest, but I think it's largely due to the long startup on his glide and the slow steering you have to work with while you're gliding as well. Not to mention he could only climb walls that were meant to be climbed instead of being a wall climbing maniac like back in the day. There also came a point where I had found a very high ground to stand on and flew a straight line for about 1,000 meters to my next destination, skipping a huge section of platforming. I just kinda liked that they gave us movement like this despite being able to break through these platforming areas. It's pretty cool. Tails was fun to play, and I thought his flight starting with a little hover was a good idea. This way, you get flying at a fixed height and blasting upward with flight in the same swing. Through his skill tree though, as every character has a brand new one of these fitting just for them, Tails is able to get an upgrade to his boost when he's at max rings, allowing him to take his tornado around and fly freely. At this point, I knew for sure that they just really didn't care if I flew straight to my objectives. They gave me all of the opportunity to do it with every character. And while I did skip these sections a few times, I also went back and explored them to see what they had to offer because they had to design brand new platforming challenges around more characters now, and I wanted to see what that looked like. And I was pleasantly surprised. A few new platforming tools, a few new platforming ideas, and a decent number of them to get through, especially if you go to 100% this DLC. I was feeling good. Overall, I would say this DLC isn't as good for the story beats as it is for the 100% collection side of things. The real draw to this new part of the game isn't Sonic running up these towers and beating these monotonous challenges, it's playing as the new characters and exploring the island with their new movement techniques. I'm still going to 100% this extra story section of the game yet because it's genuinely a lot of fun to play. It's just a shame that you only get the option to switch freely between characters at the end of it all because being forced to play through all the Sonic stuff is really kind of a bummer. But the Sonic stuff is the only part of the game that I thought wasn't great. I really do implore you to give it a shot. Take in the movement of the new characters, level them up to max, and just have fun with it. There's so much to enjoy here. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and if you'd like to, feel free to check out some of my other videos too. I'll get a few on screen for you here. As for now, my name's Myloe, and I'm out.